So here we go again. I'm a bit sweaty. I'm very close to where I was yesterday for this, and that's even though I had not only not planned on leaving the house, but I planned on not leaving the house. There's some things that came up that made me think I had to. First off, yesterday night I realised I was running low on toothpaste, and not brushing teeth is not much of an option. I had enough remaining for this morning, but not enough for tonight. So I got myself a new stash. It's not that I'm explicitly recommending this brand, it's just what I've always used and I don't like change. So yeah, I think it's about time for me to start carrying a towel in the car. Weather's bloody warm again, it's 26 degrees centigrade, it's fairly humid. I walked 3.28k, which is more than yesterday, but still less than I thought I did. It might just be the watches off in measuring, just because I know had I driven it, it would have been more than 4k. So odds are walking went significantly less, particularly as I zigzagged all over the place, but who knows. I got the watch as measurement, so I might as well keep it consistent, you know. The other reason I thought I had to leave the flat is, though I acknowledge I need days in limbo to function, or to not stop functioning, I guess, was taking a mental toll on me just not leaving bed. So at like 4 p.m, 5 p.m, I decided, F it. First off, I need toothpaste? Second off, I've been in my flat long enough, I kind of need to get out of the place, and theoretically I could have played video games to get out, but it's also not too great for health just sitting around. So I figured I might as well go for a walk. Oddly enough, this place is a solid 10k from my flat. Shop was significantly closer where I got the toothpaste. And it's really not all that responsible of me to be driving around with diesel I can't afford at this time. So then again, the logic is I've already bought the diesel. I did put a 20 litre can in yesterday night. So yesterday night, might have been noon, might have forgotten to mention it. I've still got another 20 litre can. Tank indicator's on half full. My best guess is I got an approximate range of 250k before I go on reserve. And then with another can I should make it another 230, so I should make it through this week, no problem. This coming up week. The one after might be a bit tight, but money incoming should be imminent. And though I'm cutting back on things like groceries and so on, and my bulk storage of stuff is running out, toothpaste for example, I reckon the money will come through, so that should work out. First thing I'll probably do is spend half of what come in on immediately restocking bulk supplies, like soap. I'm on half a bottle remaining. In the past I'd only bought like 5 litres at a time. I think in future I'll up it to like 10 or 12 litres at a time. And I'm right next to quite a major road, particularly as the road behind me going straight is blocked, even though it was not supposed to be until tomorrow. Apparently today there's a running event going on, and there was no signage to predict such a thing. I could have parked there yesterday night, and I could still be parked there today, and it would all be legal. I'd have to be moved by midnight tonight until tomorrow, but for the time before then I could have been parked there, which I find slightly odd, because I guess, first off, I guess living around here isn't too unpleasant. You got trees between the traffic and you, and the odd pedestrian coming by, and besides that it's very calm. There is housing, it's fairly spread out, but many party households, so houses, many household party houses, there we go. I don't think I'd be opposed to living here. Then again, I don't think I'll be able to afford it ever. Joke is, the housing here even appears to have parking, which would make it viable for me, at least on some level, I guess. It's kind of funny how that works, really. I'm going to light a smoke and I'm going to regret it the moment traffic come from behind in a moment, and we'll have a load of noise. But hey, it's not really regret. I know ahead of time I'm not going to like it. Speaking of the devil, yesterday night we had a little thunderstorm. Just went past town on the east edge. I live somewhere around there. Trying not to dox myself too hard. Was nice air, but we didn't get the thunderstorm, so that's a shame. One thing I realised while walking around here, I mean, it's the biggest park in town by far. It's roughly 2k wide and 5k long, maybe 4k long, but still is a not insignificant park, to the point where it have a road going through the middle of it that is not part of the park. And there's a surprising amount of desire paths here, or paths of desire. There are just well-trodden paths without any established construction or anything. That someone just started one day walking there, and enough people followed that they are now desire paths. Paths of desire, which I guess is a bit odd, but that's how it is. I don't walk on those because, in the end of the day, I suppose they could be made into proper paths eventually. But it's also kind of treading on all the plants and green stuff that is supposed to be growing there. So, plants and green stuff brings me on another tangent. I killed another one of my plants and I started to sprout another seed. Not good news, I guess. Good news is I do know why I killed the plant. I certainly overwatered it. The soil was a bit soggy, so it was more like marsh soil. So I'm going to be a bit soft on the watering in the future. Apparently the soil absorbed water like hell, because I mostly watered underneath the pot and it sucked it all up. But that seedling had grown mouldy around the capsule of the seed, and the seed's dead, so yay. I'm now on my second to last seed, the one I'm sprouting right now, of one kind, which is the kind I kind of want to grow first, just because it's not an automatic, it's only feminized, which means I should be able to control how long it grows for and when it starts to flower, which is going to be an interesting experiment. So I currently got three more chances at growing one of them plants, and once those have failed, I'll have to go to an automized seed, which flower whenever it wants to, predetermined. But I'm not looking for those. I don't mind them as a concept, but if I can control when the stuff flowers, giving me more control, I guess. Oh, another thing, I have managed to change the lighting in my growing setup. I'm now using two 50-watt cobs with inbuilt power supplies. They run off 230 AC. They're supposed to be full spectrum, and even though they are both 50 watts, and they are in parallel, when they're warm and warmed up, they don't draw 100 watts as one might expect. They only draw 30 watts combined, so 15 watts a pop. And they emit a lot of light for that. With that light in a room from just two cobs, if it's not in a box but uncontained, and you turn on the ceiling light, after some time the ceiling light just looks bloody green, just because it's so magenta. It's like minus green 5 stops or something stupid. But I guess that's the idea of growing lights, because, surprise, chloroplasts are green, which means that is the frequency, or the frequency range of the spectrum they absorb the least. Which means there's no point wasting electric on generating that frequency, really. So I don't actually know what full spectrum mean. I haven't actually gotten some diffraction grading, or even just oily film, because that should work as diffraction grading, I believe, to some degree. Don't know for sure. To look at it, I haven't even taken a picture of white and analysed it digitally, but there's no point, because all of that's working RGB. So really, I'd need a spectrum analyzer. And again, I'm not that into it. Plus, I don't got the money to spend on anything anyways right now, so nah. That being said, not having the money to spend on anything anyways, I did spend like €4 last week, which I might not have mentioned thus far, on getting a proper name brand timer for electric 230 AC 16 amp, and I've put that in line with my watt meter for the light for growing plants now, so it's fully automised. The only thing that's not automised is the watering, but I got to look out not to overwater, which means I'll try and limit it to watering once a day, a bit, maybe twice if it's early morning and late evening. I'm not going to water anymore today, just because that is probably the reason I killed the last 3 plants I had. So I did repot it to find out it's the second one that wasn't dead. I also repotted that because the soil in that was just soggy, it just hadn't killed it yet. I had started sprouting the beginnings of some seeds, of some leaves, and I'll put those really close to the surface, and I hope when I get home there might be green there. Admittedly, it'll be very small. Car just changed lanes in front of me, no indicator. Another one indicator too close to the car behind them. Who knows? In this city, no one seems to give a flying F. Funny how that worked, really. I think normal people just aren't made to obey rules. Like for me, it brings pleasure, but for others, apparently, a lot of the time it does not. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. Breaking the rules, that is. I'm pretty sure I'm going to drive not too big a detour from here home, just because I can't really afford the diesel. But we'll find out. Apparently I got a low battery, it's 12 volts. I'll start up the diesel now though, haha, because I got to save diesel. No, but I don't want a low battery voltage, so I got to keep it running a bit. I mean, I got things draining. The phone isn't charging, but the stereo's on standby and the camera's on stand. No, the camera's off as well. Huh, wonder what's draining it then. Maybe the dash. I mean, it still had 12 volts, but I'd rather not find out how low I can go. I know I can go 11.8, but any lower I haven't tried. And I'd rather not. I'd rather continue to not try. There we go, that should do. And we are back to 13 volts. Oh yeah, I have the blower on the fan. That might explain why I was draining voltage. I mean, it's probably only like 20 watts or so. But 20 watts at 12 volts is quite some. It's more than an amp, you know. Funny how that works. Oh, there's a helicopter coming and flying right over. Was circling up in the distance earlier, and now it's come right here, and it's actually quite quiet. Oh, there we go, now I can hear it. There appears to have been a marathon or something of the like going on today. Or a run, I don't know if it's marathon, half marathon, or whatever. Biathlon, no, it's not a biathlon, it might have been a triathlon. But no skis were seen, so it wouldn't be a biathlon. I did manage to play some video yesterday, I believe. I'm not sure actually. Later today I still got to contribute to the group project of the group I've just joined, just by adding some ideas to a Figma board. Figma appears to be working just the same as a Miro board, same difference, different account. You can sign in with Google, you can sign up with Google, but you got to confirm your name you'd like to be called, blah blah. But it's apparently not mobile friendly, which I'm surprised by in the 21st century. Well, not in the 21st century, but in the 200 and no, in the 21st century, 220th decade. There we go. That's where I'm surprised. 21st century would have been viable, but 220th decade is not so viable. 223rd decade. Nah. Interestingly enough, a car just pulled up on the middle aisle just across there. I just dropped my cigarette. From the outside, it looked like a Mercedes Maybach, fancy Merc. That's made to be chauffeur around and not to drive yourself. But I'm fairly certain it was a tribute car or a lookalike. It was not an authentic, which is an odd thing for someone to be copying, because it's not the kind of car you care to be seen driving, I guess, but perhaps some people do. I'd think being driven on one is a baller move, but if it's an authentic one, that's even more so. Ooh, this reminds me of a fun anecdote I have from quite a while back, probably best part of 3/4 a year, maybe more. I was driving toward the airport for whatever reason, for reasons I shan't disclose, let's say it that way. And there was a legit Mercedes Maybach with two parents in the front and two kids in the back. We were having fun, just like driving together, you know, letting each other in front of the other. That was a really good time. And they didn't stick to the speed limit, I did. But I always caught up with them because, surprise, stick to the speed limit, get the lights, you know. You don't got to worry about, oh no, now's a red light, I've got to stop again. At least not in most cases. Some cases the lights just poorly timed. But most cases do work, you know. So, yeah, that was a fun one. I would say we had been racing, but we haven't, because I hadn't gone over the speed limit and we weren't in agreement of racing. And it would be a felony to race, much as committing a hit and run would be, even if one just scraped the rust off someone's trailer hitch. Ooh. I'm not admitting to anything. But if the plod take too long to show, it's not my fault. I don't like the way that sound. Bloody criminal, you know. I'm not a gangster, I'm just a criminal. I probably shouldn't be admitting to stuff. Well, I didn't admit to anything specifically, but still, you know, I shouldn't be given the vibe of admitting to anything, so nah. Might not be the wisest move legally, but I'm pretty sure the legal system couldn't care less about what I talk about here. Because, I mean, hell, if they want to use any of it against me, they have to watch the whole context. Which means someone else will watch my videos. Thank you very much for watching, by the way. Whether you are the government or not, thank you very much for watching. Helps me to know I'm heard. And I honestly don't mind who hears me. I like the idea of it having been potentially anyone. The reason I'm using a piezo electric lighter, not a Zippo, is because the way I'm seated, I have a hard time accessing my Zippo. Ever since I added a new Molly system pouch to my belt to store my cigarettes and my rolling equipment. I actually did some customization to that pouch because I inverted one of the zippers. They had been opening in opposite ways, which I don't want on my belt, because that way you can perhaps open the second one accidentally while you're trying to close the first. Instead of, so you run around with two open zippers. And the way I now know, or the way it is now, I know when the zipper's at the front, all the pockets are closed. That was surprisingly easy. Reversing a zipper, just pull it out one end and push in the other. Obviously the ends were sewed up, but I just unsewed the bit, cut it open with a razor blade and re-sewed it after. Tesla brake lights, beautiful red light. And no indicators, changing 2 lanes right away and speeding with more than 30 kph into a 30 speed limit. I have in the past wondered whether I should just drive around for like an hour, record the entire hour, go through the effort of censoring it all for it to be legal to be published, and then publishing it with a commentary on my faults and others' faults in that time. Because I'd be surprised if others committed more faults than I did, because I commit faults all the time. I mean, hell, I've forgotten to indicate in the middle of the night when changing a lane while going straight. Admittedly, the lane I was on became the left turning lane and there was no other lane, but still, theoretically you need to indicate, and if there's no one around, you still need to indicate. And I've not indicated in those cases sometimes, just because I'm too good a flow with the music or so. I am human, so I'm not perfect, even though I am autistic. I hope you are not perfect too. Have a nice day. I'll see you around. Cheerio.